I got to tell you, I am absolutely livid at what these judges are doing to Donald Trump and his administration. I mean, they are literally doing everything in their power through their judicial insurrection or judicial coup or whatever you want to call it to make Trump a sitting president where he has his hands tied, even though he has control of Congress. He's got the House, he's got the Senate, we've got it, and they are freaking useless right now. Congress has gone AWOL and is not really helping Donald Trump when we have literally 133 cases. That's the latest number that I've checked that have been brought against the Trump administration. Again, never in the history has this ever happened, ever, to any president. Only Donald J. Trump. What is happening here is different than anything we have ever seen in history's past, and there is something really bad going on. But they are really attempting to gridlock Donald Trump, and he is getting gridlocked. I'll tell you, there's some of these judges who are very obviously breaking the rules of the executive branch and their own department. Some of these rules, if I were Donald Trump, I would pull what Biden did and just ignore them. At this point, there's a lot of judges that have passed unconstitutional things and are really usurping power from the executive office, and this just has to stop. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about, but you are going to be literally floored when I show you how bad this really is, and it's not getting enough attention. And the question is this doomsday for Trump, or is he going to take action? Is the Supreme Court going to get in, or is Congress ever going to wake the hell up? Because right now they're just sitting back, letting their little fingers twiddle, doing nothing about it when they know that some of these executive orders they can take to the House and the Senate and pass some laws and bills there, but yet they're not doing it. The question is, why? I've got a lot to share with you, but a quick break from my sponsor. Well, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I saw a video of him the other day and I was completely shocked. I mean, the man is literally in his 80s. He is working out, kicking butt, and more active than ever. In fact, what stood out to me is that he seemed stronger than he's ever been. He works out longer and he had lots and lots of energy. And I thought to myself, I want to be like him when I'm his age. So what the heck is he doing that is changing his lifestyle, right? So he claims that he did this by making one change in his life. And I want to encourage you guys to check out that change. And in order to check it out, all you have to do is go to chuckdefense.com/haven to find out what that change is. And I have to tell you, I found out what that change was, and it made a huge difference in my life. And I honestly believe that it will make a huge difference in your life. This is why I've sponsored with them. But you can check it out at chuckdefense.com/haven. And if you want more information, you can click the link in the description box below to watch the video, or if you're on the cell phone, click that more button. But trust me, you're going to want to check this out. Go to chuckdefense.com/haven. All right, back to the broadcast. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty of these judges, because I got a lot to show you in today's broadcast. You're going to be floored. But I found this on apnews.com, and it's a site that is tracking all the lawsuits that are brought against Donald Trump and his administration via the executive orders and actions that he has taken. Now, you can see here, it was last updated March 25th. And so as of today, I counted a total of 133 cases that are now being brought against President Trump and his administration. Again, I have to repeat this. It's important. Never in the history has that ever happened to any sitting president. The number that it normally surrounds a sitting president where they bring cases with the courts is about 20-ish. That is what most of the presidents in the past dealt with, but not Donald Trump. I think he had 65 to 70-ish in his first term, and now he's far exceeded that with 133. So there is absolutely something fishy going on, but it gets even more interesting. Okay, now the reason, kind of back to this chart, the reason I chose this chart, number one, is because they actually color code what judge was appointed by whom. So example, Baltimore versus what? You could see Matthew Maddox was appointed here, and you can see he was appointed by Biden. You can see right here, Amir, DNC versus Donald Trump. He was also appointed by Biden. And then you can see this little maroon here. That would be a Trump appointee, Carl Nicholas. So I think you guys get the idea. More or less, it's for the liberals listening out there. But here's the deal. What I found interesting is I had to physically count how many judges were appointed by Trump, how many judges were appointed by Biden, and so on and so forth. And you guys are going to freak in the numbers because there is absolutely judge shopping that's not supposed to exist that is going on. And I'm going to get into that. But anyway, the reason, which you're going to see is interesting, I really wonder why the AP news source, I don't wonder why, we all know, but I want you to notice that the AP news source does not say, okay, there's 8 by Trump, 10 by Biden. They didn't list the number next to it because they know the numbers are highly off. Okay. So here is a chart that I created, please. It's very basic. I didn't make it pretty. All right. It's just a simple little chart, right? So here it is. This is one that I created based off of the information here, and you can go back and verify. But case in point, 133 cases now being brought against Donald J. Trump. 100 of those cases have judges appointed by Biden, Obama, and Clinton. 100 of them. And if you look at the very bottom, 100 of them being Democrats, that is 75% of the cases being brought against Donald J. Trump are Democrat appointed judges. I think there is a massive bias and some judge shopping going on here. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. And then you can see a measly little 15 judges. And by the way, those 15 judges that were appointed by Donald J. Trump are on very measly cases that don't have much to do with a do. And then you have 11 appointed by Bushes and 7 by Reagan. Say we add all of the red ones up there because they're all quote unquote Republicans. We have about 33 judges who are Republicans, and that's only about 25%. And I'm rounding up. It's like 24.8 and a 75.2 or something to the effect of, but I'm rounding here, right? But about 25%. In all honesty, I would take out these 11 appointed Bushes and give the 15 plus the 7, right? So about 22. That would be more accurate. And now we're talking more of like an 18-ish, 17-ish, and I'm rounding here, number. Because I don't see the Bushes as exactly Republican. But here's the thing. We all know it, but nothing is being done about it. The Democrats are going judge shopping, which, by the way, they were supposed to stop doing that in 2024, March of 2024. That was supposed to all change. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's the Federal Bar Association.org. And you can see forum shoppers beware. New judge shopping policy announced. What is the policy? And it's very basic. The March 2024 Judicial Conference announced a new policy to promote random case assignment and combat a forum shopping derivative. Judge shopping. Okay, so this is supposed to stop people from picking a judge because they favor their side. And instead, it says, oh, we're going to randomly pick from a bucket. Boop, that's it. Here's your judge. Doesn't seem like that is what is happening when you actually look at the numbers here now, does it? Now let's go on a little bit more. What is judge shopping? For those who may not know, because there are liberals listening, judge shopping occurs when a plaintiff seeks to bring a case before a specific judge, rather than just a particular court, as in a conventional forum shopping. Plaintiffs most often pursue judges they believe are sympathetic to a social or political cause underlining their suit. The most effective and notable judge shopping involves strategic filing in courts with few available judges. Within certain federal districts, plaintiffs may file in a geographic division with only 1 or 2 active judges. So a plaintiff who sues in those divisions has a high likelihood of being able to proceed before her judge or his judge of choice. There's definitely shopping going on here. And yet, we don't have the Supreme Court stepping in. It's supposed to lean conservative. And Congress has gone AWOL, doing nothing. Ergo, by the way, these numbers are why they're not shown on here, because they're highly off. highly off and slant in favor of the freaking Democrats. Now, there's a lot going on top of that I want to share with you. Let's go to this latest case. I can't stand this guy, but the GatewayPundit.com breaking: appeals court denies Trump Department of Justice request to lift Boasberg's block on Alien Enemies Act deportation flights. Now, kind of give you a background. Most of us probably know about this, but basically he said, you can't fly Venezuela gang members out of the country. Give me all the information on the planes that you're flying, who you're flying, what you're doing, the whole 9 yards. And the Donald Trump administration said, F off, state secrets. We're not going to share that information with you. And then an appeal court goes, all right, great, but we're going to keep his block. You're still not allowed to fly Venezuelan gang members out of the country. Stupidest crap I have ever heard. This guy needs to be impeached, but Congress is doing nothing. Yet again, I'm very mad at Congress because they can make some actions on this and they're not. But anyway, that's what's going on. And what's going on in a nutshell is they're judge shopping, right? They're finding the judge of their choice. Once they find the judge of their choice, they pick that judge. Then they use that judge and they go to a Democrat-controlled appeal court, which there's a lot of them, right? And the appeal courts are also against Donald J. Trump. And so we have this deny, block, temporary restraining orders, TROs that are being ignited on the Trump administration until eventually, hopefully, they land in the Supreme Court. There's going to be an awful lot going on in the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, here's more proof of judge shopping. Because remember, this is the judge that blocked the flights, right? And this is also the judge, by the way, that just got assigned to a brand new case. This brand new case being this: Trump officials have been sued over signal chat. I've been talking about this in detail on my channel, as you know. Hegseth, Rubio, I believe Gabbard was on there. We're all on this group chat regarding, on Signal, regarding their plans for Houthi, rebel attack, and all of that. Well, now somebody is suing over that. And guess who got signed randomly to the case? This guy right here. And this is on Gateway Pundit. Deep State strikes again. Obama appointed Judge Boasberg assigned to Signal Chat lawsuit involving Hegseth and Waltz. Surprise. Same guy. That just proves my point all the more. Why is this not getting called out? Why is this even being allowed to happen? There is a judicial insurrection, judicial coup, whatever name you want to give it, that is happening. And time again, these cases are picked by Democrat judge. Then they're going to appeals courts, and the appeals courts are also blocking stuff. Here's just another example. The Hill appeals court keeps block on Trump's sweeping funding freeze, and that's recent as well. Then we also have stuff like this happening. Judge reverses decision out of nowhere, just reverses it. Says unions can sue over federal worker firing. This is on the Epoch Times. So he reconsidered in light of new briefing. And then we have that. So judges are not recusing themselves either, like this judge, right? Judge Beryl Howell rips Trump's DOJ, rejects motion to disqualify herself from the Perkins Coie case. This girl is appointed by Obama, and she has said some pretty wild things about Donald Trump in general, but yet she's not recused from the case. Rather interesting, right? But speaking on the judge topic, there's some other things that I want to show you that I think are important. How about the fact, and Justice Knight touched on this on an earlier report on Restricted Republic. I really hope you guys are there. Go to Restricted Republic and check it out now. You guys are going to love it. And for those of you who are already there, love all of you. But with that, thefederalist.com has some really interesting information on some of these judges that have been appointed. And here it is. A third of all DC district judges were not born in the United States, not born here. And by the way, some of the judges that were appointed didn't even have judicial experience as being a judge. The United States District Court for the District of Columbia, the source of many of the cases interfering with Trump's authority, has 15 judges, and 5 of them were born outside of the U.S. And I don't know your take on that. Obviously, there's no rule against it, right? Origin really hasn't come up when it comes to justices, but these are the ones that are really interfering in Donald Trump's executive orders. Now, the concept of foreign-born judges is newer phenomenon in this district. In addition to the 15 main judges, the D.C. district has 10 older senior judges who still occasionally hear cases in the district. This group, nominated as far back as Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, were all of them born in the U.S. But oddly enough, in 2014, under Barack Obama, he appointed Judge Tanya Chutkan, born in Jamaica. She was in the U.S. by 1979, attending George Washington University. Before sitting on a federal court, she had no experience as a judge. None. She's the one that is coincidentally overseeing that. Then we have Obama also appointed Judge Amit Mehta to the D.C. court. Also, they had no experience as a judge, and they were born in India. So you have two judges that haven't been born in the United States of America, and both of these judges had no previous experience as a judge. I wonder why they were appointed. Then we have three other judges that were foreign-born that were nominated by Joe Biden. Judge Anna Cecilia Reyes was nominated in 2021, also with no prior experience as a judge. And you could see she was born in Uruguay and moved to Spain, but anyway, no prior experience. None of that really mattered. Then we have another one here. Judge Amir Ali, he was born and raised in Canada to Egyptian parents, right? So there's another one that was born out of the country. And he's the one, by the way, well, let's just not get into that. But anyway, oh yeah, here it is. He was the one, by the way, that single-handedly restored the $2 billion in USAID spending to foreign nonprofit contractors, regardless of the fact of the merits of the contract, like whether or not they were legit. He was the one that agreed to that. And then we also have one more, and that is Judge Sparkle Shukanen. I know I'm butchering that, but anyway, that is the last one. So it's interesting that a third of all D.C. district judges are not born in the U.S. What the hell is going on? Well, I can't wait to read your comments and concerns on all of that. But with that, please don't forget to get on over to Restricted Republic. Go there now, subscribe, sign up. We have exclusive content that we share on that. Use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5 to get it for $5 per month. Hope to see you there. And with all of that, I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.